The prevailing narrative of the Roman conquest often prioritizes the lethality of the gladius or the tactical flexibility of the maniple. However, from a forensic perspective, the Roman Empire was not built on iron. It was built on leather. Historians romanticize the march of the legions, but they rarely audit the contact point where that march meets the reality of the terrain. To maintain a force of roughly 250,000 legionaries, yielding a total of 500,000 active colossi souls, is to manage one of the most demanding procurement cycles in the pre-industrial world. The miracle of Roman mobility is, in fact, a grueling exercise in bovine infrastructure and resource diversion. If a single pair of sandals fails, a soldier becomes a logistical liability. If 500,000 fail, the empire's borders retract by default. The staggering difficulty lies not in the fighting, but in the constant, high-velocity replacement of the very material that allows a soldier to exist in a tactical space. Now let us open the ledger and begin the audit of this historical operation. We begin our audit at the source, the bovine input. To produce 500,000 military-grade souls, we are not merely looking at leather as a generic commodity. We are looking at the specific requirement for thick, vegetable-tanned cowhide, specifically the prime back cuts capable of sustaining the high-pressure load of a soldier carrying 60 to 80 pounds of gear. Our initial data suggests that a single cow provides approximately 45 to 50 square feet of hide. However, for the caligay, the heavy-duty military boot, only the thickest sections are viable for the multi-layered sole. After accounting for waste, structural integrity, and the cutting patterns required for a standard size 9 or 10 Roman foot, a single hide yields roughly 10 to 12 pairs of high-quality soles. To equip a mobilization of 250,000 men, the Roman state required the immediate slaughter and processing of 25,000 cattle just for the initial deployment. This represents a massive diversion of resource allocation. These 25,000 cattle are not just skins. They are the result of human calorie math. To raise a single cow to a maturity where its hide is thick enough for military use requires approximately 3 years of grazing and significant man-hours of husbandry. If we calculate the caloric expenditure of the herders and the land use opportunity cost, land that could have produced grain to feed the legions, the cost of a single sandal begins to look like an elite engineering investment. We estimate that each square inch of a Roman sole represents a thermodynamic cost of several thousand calories of biomass, converted through the inefficient engine of a heifer's metabolism into a durable polymer of collagen and tannin. Furthermore, the audit must account for the chemical processing latency. Raw hide is a biohazard. To transform it into a tactical asset, it must undergo vegetable tanning. This process, using crushed oak bark or gall nuts, is not a just-in-time JIT operation. It is a slow, multi-month chemical reaction. The logistics of the tanning pits require a massive influx of water and tannins, meaning the Roman military-industrial complex had to be situated near specific ecological resources long before a single soldier stepped onto the Appian Way. The man-hours involved in scraping, liming, and soaking 25,000 hides represent a labor force of thousands of specialized artisans whose sole purpose was to repair the army's tires. Finally, we must factor in the clavi, the iron hobnails. Each sole was studded with 80 to 100 nails. This was the first instance of a wear prevention system designed to improve the ROI of the leather. By adding these iron contact points, the Romans attempted to reduce the friction coefficient directly applied to the leather, essentially creating a replaceable tread for the human foot. However, this adds a secondary layer to our input audit: the mining and forging of roughly 40 to 50 million iron nails. This was the raw budget of Roman movement: a mountain of hide, a forest of oak bark, and a river of iron, all gathered before the first mile was ever marched.